Hi, my name is Taylor Cloyd and I'm going to be discussing the 5 models of organizational behavior. Now first I would like to introduce Douglas McGregor. He's one of the first writers to call attention to the managerial models. Also, he felt that management's human resource policies, decision-making styles, operating practices, and even organizational designs flow from key assumptions about human behavior. This brought along his theories of X and Y management. Theory X assumes that most people dislike work and will avoid it if at all possible. It also states that people lack responsibility and ambition. It also states that rewards do not motivate these employees, so managers are forced to threaten them with punishment. Theory Y, on the other hand, represents a more supportive approach to managing people. It states that they are not inherently lazy, and it states that if managers will provide the proper environment to unveil their potential, work will become as simple as play, rest, and relaxation. Here's a table summarizing some of the key differences I've discussed. Now, McGregor's work eventually led to the 5 models of organizational behavior. They are the autocratic, custodial, supportive, collegial, and system. The autocratic model, this depends on power. The management position is one of authority. Employees must be directed, persuaded, and pushed into performance. Employee orientation is obedience to the boss, but not respect to the manager. This type of management often leads to micromanagement, which leaves managers to control every detail of daily operation, which employees typically detest. Now, emerging knowledge of employees' needs and the ever-changing societal values suggested that there were much better styles of management than this. This led us to the custodial model. This model is dependent on economic resources, meaning that managerial orientation is focused on pay, wages, and benefits. The employee's physical needs have already reasonably been met, so the management looks to motivate through security needs. This approach leads to employee dependence on the organization for their security and welfare. The text explains that if employees have excellent health care where they work now, they can't afford to leave, even if the grass looks greener elsewhere. Under this model, employees are comfortable and cared for, but they are also in most cases complacent and unmotivated. This brings us to the supportive model. This model is characterized by leadership instead of power or money. Through leadership, managers aim to help employees grow and accomplish in the interest of the organization. Managers support the job performance of the employee rather than just the benefits, as in the custodial model. Due to this support from management, employees have a feeling of participation and task involvement in the organization. And because of this, they use we instead of they when referring to the organization. Next up is the collegial model. This model relates to a group of people working together cooperatively as a team. It is not used in assembly lines due to the rigid work. It is much more useful in creative and free environments. In this model, managers are coaches that work to build a better team. Employees produce results because they feel an obligation to the others, promoting self-discipline. Now, the final model is the system model. This model is a result of search for higher meaning in work, wanting more than just a paycheck or job security. They want somewhere built on integrity and trust. This system reflects the values of positive organizational behavior, which include identifying, developing, and managing psychological strengths within the employees. Under this system, managers expressed to each worker that you are an important part of our whole system, which leads to the employees experiencing psychological ownership of the organization, which builds intrinsic self-motivation, which is the highest form of motivation. Here are some of the advantages of each. The autocratic can be useful under extreme conditions, such as organizational crises. The custodial, which builds employee security. Supportive, which builds status and recognition. Also the collegial, employees feel needed and useful. And the system, which builds self-motivation. In conclusion, I believe the system model is most effective. It builds integrity and trust, has a sense of community. Employees develop a sense of hope, optimism, self-confidence, empathy, trustworthiness, esteem, courage, efficacy, and resiliency. It also stimulates passion and commitment within the organization. And the resources I used are, of course, our textbook, Organizational Behavior, Human Behavior at Work, by John W. Newstrom. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.